What's happening, Capital XTRA Breakfast? Robert Bruce, Shayna Marie here for your Thursday, getting your morning going.
And we are looking forward to having this guest in the studio with us right now.
He's a former footballer, having played for Coventry City.
He's an early riser like us, often waking up at 4 a.m. to fit everything into his day.
And he's here to tell us about his memoir, Strong, which is out right now.
It's Ashley Cain, everybody!
Let's go, Cham. What an intro that is. Listen, I needed that energy this morning, and thank you for bringing it.
Nah, that's what we're here for. How you doing, man? What's going on, Ashley?
I'll be honest, yeah, I'd like to come in and say that, you know, everything's energetic, everything's lively, but I'm absolutely knackered. But that's a good thing. I'm busy. I'm doing great and impactful projects, and I've got a massive race in 2 weeks' time, so I'm just going for it.
Just going for it. We love it for you. I mentioned that you wake up at 4 a.m. most mornings. Are you naturally a morning person?
I'll be honest, I never used to be. And then, obviously, when I was in hospital with my daughter, I found it hard to sleep. And then after losing my daughter, it gave me this, like, uncontrollable urge to make a difference and to fight for something. And then now in the mornings, it could be 2:30, it could be 4 o'clock. I could have 2 hours sleep, I could have 4, but I need to get up because I feel like I need to make the most of the day.
Yeah.
So it's just something inside me that wakes me up and tells me, let's get cracking.
Let's get it going.
Your memoir, Strong, is out right now. It's in bookstores. How does it feel that it's out, first and foremost?
At first, I was really nervous about it coming out. Not because, you know, people are going to know about my life, because I'm an open book, you know, sorry about the pun. But it was more so like I really wanted to do my daughter justice. I really wanted to be able to portray how amazing she was and how much she impacted me and people from around this world and how much of a difference she's still going to make now. So I think that was the important part for me, which I was skeptical about. Like, have I been able to put the magnitude of how amazing she was down on this paper? And, you know, after working on it so thoroughly and so relentlessly and hearing the feedback from the people, I really think I have. And it's something I'm extremely proud of. It's a beautiful and powerful memoir about my journey with my daughter, but it's also very strong and it can give people a lot to take away from, you know what I mean?
Can you tell us a bit about the title of the book? It's called Strong, and why did you decide to call it that?
It had to be. You know, the journey, you know, being around my daughter, you know, she taught me the true meaning of strength. I've never seen somebody in my life, whether they've been my age or whether they've fought a war, that's as strong as that little girl. That little girl was not only strong, but she was inspiring. She knew how to make the people around her feel as great as they could feel no matter what they're going through. And I think the journey was about strength from her side, from my side, from Sophia's side, from my family's side, and also from the world at that point that was going through a global pandemic. I think in this world, you know, something that everybody needs to be is strong, because you're never going to be able to get away from the problems that are coming to you. But you can be strong enough to overcome them, to see them through, and to be a better person at the other side of it. So I think the book had to be strong because my daughter taught me what strength really means and the power of having it.
The book has helped so many people, you see from all the feedback, and you're a big advocate for mental health yourself as well.
Of course.
The title's Strong, but what did you get from the book that you might want others to take away from the book that wasn't what you set it out to be, if that makes sense? Did you learn a surprise lesson?
Personally, for me, it was a very difficult process because it made me realise that there was a lot of things that I hadn't revisited, you know, since my trauma. I just think this is a great book in a lot of ways. You know, I'm not afraid to show my emotion, and I believe that sometimes, you know, the best parts of my life are when I feel really upset, I feel really built up, and then I manage to release it. A lot of the feedback I've had from the book is that, you know, people have had to put it down quite a lot. They've had to isolate themselves and just have a moment to release that emotion, to cry. I think that's a great part of the book, because I believe that even though some people might be upset about what they're reading, they may need to release some stress and some trauma from their own life. I think also it gives a lot of people perspective. I think sometimes in this world we go through mental health problems because, you know, we think our life's so bad. And I think, you know, in reading this book, you understand that it could be a lot worse. I also think it gives people some inspiration to grow beyond what's affected you. I think it shows a pathway to the other side of that trauma. You know, at the other side of your pain is power. At the other side of your struggle can be strength. And I think it's just a good way for people to see that it is great to be open. It is great to be transparent. It is great to show and release your emotions, but it's also great at the other side of it to stand up strong, chin up, chest out, and make something happen as a result of it.
Sounds pretty beautiful. It really does. Ashley, you are also an endurance athlete as well. What is the toughest physical challenge that you faced so far?
I would have to say either the 109-mile run that I did, from my daughter's resting place to Trafalgar Square, or the 125-mile kayak race that I did from Devizes to Westminster. I weed myself for 23 hours, 20 minutes because I had to break that 24-hour point and I didn't stop. These endurance challenges as well, look, I'm a normal guy and I'm very busy. So a lot of people that do this stuff, that's their full-time thing. They trained for years and years and years. I give myself 2-3 months and then I just rely on the fact that I won't quit to complete it. And I think that's the true thing that means something to me. If I train for 2-3 years to do it, I know that I'm going to be able to achieve it. The fact of the matter is, half of the time that I enter these things, I know that probably I'm not in a physical condition to do it. Also, I'm 95 kilos and I look like I'm about to go into a bodybuilding show, even though I don't lift weights. I'm not the ideal shape for it. So my whole reasoning for doing it is to really challenge myself mentally. And I believe that in doing these things, I gain like 5 years worth of knowledge during that 100 miles because I understand myself emotionally, I understand myself physically, and I understand the ups and downs and what it takes to overcome them. And it's just a really powerful and empowering process, which at the other side of all that pain is just a huge and incredible sense of fulfillment that you didn't give up, you didn't quit. And you know what? The pain is temporary. I always say it to myself. The price of regret will last with you forever. So just always learn to push through and persist. And at the other side of it is greatness.
There might be people listening that have battles that they want to face, are scared to face, mental or physical, that are maybe smaller than a gazillion run that you've done or the kayaking. Have you got any tips that the small things that you do to get yourself in the zone, to get your mind right to face these battles?
I would just try and urge people to understand that no matter what battles, that you have ahead of you, they're always going to be ahead of you unless you face them, And I believe that the first step is always the hardest. Once you take that first step, everything after that starts to make sense. It starts to become doable. It starts to become achievable. And each step that you make, you gain something internally which gives you the belief system that you can actually do anything you set your mind out to do. I don't think that everybody should run hundreds of miles or kayak thousands of miles or do any of this stuff that I'm doing. I just do it extreme so that it gives people the confidence to realise that they can get out of bed in the morning. And one thing that I would say to people is, anything that seems hard, like, running your first 5K, doing your first marathon, even getting out of bed in the morning, sometimes, 100% categorically, I promise you that you will always feel better after you've done it than before you started. So stand up, face it, remember the pain of it is temporary, and afterwards you will feel great. And I just urge people to go out there and try and be the best versions of themselves. A lot of people in this world seek temporary forms of validation or happiness, which ends up making you feel a lot worse afterwards. Sometimes all you need to do is, at the end of the day, know that you did everything that you could to be better, and that's enough to internally build the self-worth and self-confidence you need to make it through to the next day.
Definitely motivation for this morning. Definitely inspiration as well. Actually, I'm about to go out and get it. Now, actually, you've been talking about endurance events, the races that you've done to raise money for the Azaylia Foundation.
Yeah.
You did 5 marathons in 5 days?
Yeah, people keep bringing up that one. That was not the toughest by far, but yeah, we did that one. Yeah, 5 marathons, 5 days, 5 cities.
You rank your toughest, give us the ones off the top of your head. What's been your toughest challenges? You sort of spoken about.
I'd say, the 125-mile kayak in 23 hours, 20 minutes, the 109-mile run, I think in 27 hours. Then I think you go, there's a lot after that. You've got the 1,800-mile cycle, the 1,000-mile cycle, the marathons. They all go down in order, but those two stand out for me.
You have got some crazy numbers on your bill. You really, really do. Yeah. It's so wicked. There are people that might be listening that have allocated their London Marathon entry, and you've done a few of those. And we asked you earlier about tips about just getting started and getting things done. Have you got any tips for marathon runners? How how do they get into that?
One thing I would say to marathon runners, and one thing that, you know, I speak to a lot of them before they're about to either go into the race or in prep, yeah, it will be 100% one of the best things that you've ever done, because, you know, you've got 50,000 people, and most of those 50,000 people are probably doing it for the first time, or they're not experienced runners. The energy is absolutely ecstatic. It's like being in a football stadium for 50,000 with 50,000 people for 26 miles. I would just say to people, you know, a bit of a tip or a bit of advice: make sure you stay hydrated, make sure you have electrolytes, and take some gels so you've always got energy with you. And wear trainers that you've run in before to avoid blisters, because that's what you don't want.
Wearing fresh new ones, and then it's just...
I mean, I can, because, you know, my feet are like, I don't know. My feet are like granite after all the stuff I do. So I could wear new trainers, no socks. But listen, to avoid those problems, make sure you've got a good bedded-in pair of trainers that you've run in before.
I actually, it's not the same, but I did a Tough Mudder recently.
How'd you find it?
Oh, it was so much fun. I'm not gonna lie, I was fuming at the ice bath. I was fuming. Like,
really?
It was ridiculous. There was mud everywhere in my ears and my braids. It was cold. It was a mess, but I had a good time, and I did it. Like, I completed it with my friends. It was great. Trying to get Robert to do one with me. Trying to convince him, because he's not on it at all. You
know, after you did it, and you know, you went for that experience. You know, when you got home that day and sat on your sofa, how good did your sofa feel?
Oh, like I can. Oh.
Listen, but most days in a week you sit on that sofa, you know what? I'm bored, I'm this.
Yeah.
You went and done that, that sofa was the best place that you could have ever dreamed or hoped of. That's the point of life. Everyday humbleness, and putting life into perspective by doing things like that. It makes you appreciate what you actually have around you. So for you, get it done. That's it.
Honestly, because my bath, when I got home, you appreciate your bath.
Why wouldn't you?
Well, after listening to you, there's no reason, is there?
No reason not to.
I can't even say no more. Where's the website?
It's always good to step outside your comfort zone and test yourself, because then, you know, who knows, if you carry on doing it, you might actually reach your potential and while you're put here on this planet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man can't miss my potential,
you can't miss your mark.
Oh,
you can't miss your mark.
So we're doing Tough Mudder. Are you doing it again?
Oh, if you're doing it, then yeah, of course.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Capital team out here. Tough Mudder, watch out.
What's coming up? What you got planned for the rest of the year? What you saying? What you telling us?
I mean, the main thing is, so next month, 10th of July, I fly to Canada. I've got a 1,000-mile kayak from Canada to the Arctic Circle to Alaska. It's completely unsupported, and it's the world's toughest survival endurance race. So you have to kayak 100 to 125 miles a day, 18 hours a day, and then you pitch up wherever you are, eat your food, get to sleep before you start the next day. I mean, I was just listening to a podcast last night from the race owner, and he was talking about when he'd done it a couple of years before, and he paddle past, 6 bodies in the river. That's how dangerous it is. It's life-threatening. And but I said to my daughter in a eulogy that I wanted to take her around the world. So for me, I couldn't put past this opportunity to take from Canada to the Arctic Circle to Alaska, while hopefully raising a lot of money and awareness for these kids. I step out there because I really and truly, this thing means more to me than the air in my lungs, to make a difference and to continue a legacy. So I hope that this shows to other people how much it means to me. And if I'm willing to go this far, hopefully people, if they have, a spare penny, a spare pound, can part with it to really make a difference to these children who are fighting,
Yes. Where can we follow you up as well?
Instagram, Mr. Ashley Cain. TikTok, Mr. Ashley Cain. And Instagram, the Azaylia Foundation.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Your memoir, Strong, is out right now in the bookstores as well.
Yeah.
We can't wait to see all that you do this year, and we're fully behind you, man.
Thank you.
One last time, let's give it up. It's Ashley Cain, everybody!
What a great way to start the day. Let's go, Chad.
Yes.